Oh, hey. I just wanted to record a quick video to talk about some interesting mechanics with Soulrend of the Spiral. Uh, it seems like people weren't aware that the skill can shotgun. It's just a little bit weird and finicky. So, like, when it has 5 projectiles by default, it'll hit one time because it'll rotate here and then end right about here. However, if you get one additional projectile, it will come all the way back around and hit twice, as you can see, because it'll hit here and then end. And then if you get it to 11 projectiles, it'll hit 3 times because it does 5 per rotation, 1 to start the next rotation, then it ends. And then something even weirder, if you stand inside the boss's hitbox, you'll hit with like one of the primary projectiles, but then all of the returns can hit, which is like very interesting. So something with like Nimmies would give this, I imagine, crazy effectiveness of added damage. That's why earlier I was trying it on a very unoptimized cast on crit cyclone build, because to get all the returns hit, you want to be inside of the boss's hitbox to maximize your hit count. Yeah, so the reason this is a demo of the mechanics and not a build guide is because there's still a lot of issues I would need to solve for the skill, and I was hoping maybe some people would be interested in looking at it and trying and working on it as well, because, for example, this skill has a ridiculously high mana cost. Look at that, 67 mana. And that is with a reduced mana cost flask on a Pathfinder, so lots of flask effect. 2 rings devoted to reduced mana cost. Look at that, 119 mana, and that is on a 5-link. So it will be even harder to maintain my ES once I get a 6-link lightning coil. And what's funny is this mana pool right now is not even enough to maintain this. 7.5 triggers a second. It would be if I spent like a point on leech, but I had to dump a ton of points into getting a glorious vanity setup just to get enough ES to mostly maintain this skill. And this is a very jank setup. I really did not want to have to do something like this. Eventually you would hopefully get enough flask effect to have this mod and other sources of reduced mana to lower the cost of this to near 0. So you wouldn't even need to be something like EV. Hell, you could drop all this and then be Ghost Dance, which would make you tankier. But since I am very poor, I cannot do that. So that's the reason I have like a 5-link, and it's the reason I have to anoint Essence Extraction over here to maintain my flask permanently, because I don't know if you guys know this, but this league mechanic early on was incredibly rippy. I literally ripped day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. I lost a ton of currency, time, and sanity. I've ripped more of this league than I have in the past 3 leagues combined. So I am very behind the curve, and I'm very poor. So I can't actually afford to fix this right now. I'm going to keep working on it. So it's kind of hard for me to say or make a build guide, because the stuff I'm doing is so based on my very constrained budget. Like originally I was doing Poet's Pen stuff like Power Siphon, Cast on Crit, because that was by far the easiest to get up and running on my budget. And I switched off of that because, man, the new Power Siphon, I really do not like the way it feels. So you can't off-screen with it. You kind of have to have mobs in your range to actually even fire it, which, man, I really do dislike that change. But it felt kind of clunky, so I switched to Cyclone, which also easier to do than other options because you get to take advantage of Brittle Ground. So to get another 2 base crit there. I would be interested in trying a Lancing Steel setup, because Lancing Steel with GMP and Cast on Crit feels really good. It is a little awkward in that Lancing Steel Cast on Crit has one of the best benefits of being able to trigger from a range, which makes it very safe for something scary like an Essence. But with this skill, you want to be up in the boss's ass, so maybe it's not the play. But that would require a little bit more gearing, just because, again, you can't use Brittle Ground with that. You can, it's just not going to be consistent, so I don't consider it when crit capping. Similar problem with a bow setup version is you would really need to solve the mana, because you're going to be having a extremely high life cost on the Mana Forge second Soulrend and Spiral setup. for that, which ideally you have something like a Vitality Watcher's Eye to gain life gain on hit. But yeah, I guess long story short is I don't 100% know that this is the best way to do this. There's still a lot of things I'd be interested in trying, like even something like a Bino's Spellblade setup on a different ascendancy, because you get the nice little prolif, and you could use something like a. It'd be kind of nice, honestly, on something like a Trickster, because you go Trickster EB Mom, or Trickster Eldritch Battery Mom, because you would get a very big ES pool, and it would be much easier to sustain that ES pool. So that's something to consider. I'm just a little addicted to Pathfinder. Yeah, so just wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully, someone finds out more information or finds out a better way to do this than what I'm doing. And I'm going to go do Christmas stuff. So I'll be back in a bit. Thanks for watching.